Hey,
good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
You know, we don't even get a chance out of the box to do it right. All right.
Accidents
Good
will
morning.
happen.
Today, it was because of that song. Today is Sunday, August 25th, 2013, and you are watching the Glory Days show with Bruce and Disco. My name is Paul Discofani, and this is my good friend Bruce Oler.
Morning, Disco. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. And you guys are joining us on inradio.com. We are broadcasting to the world in glorious high definition.
Focused on you, Long Island, though.
Focusing on you all now. And hope you were listening before the show. Actually, hope you weren't listening before the show.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough morning here for Mr. B's iPod today.
Had a little technical glitches with the... I mean, we have enough technical glitches to begin with, but we were having more than usual technical issues. But if you were listening, you would have found out what's on Mr. B's iPod as he programs 30 minutes worth of music for us before every show. And let's see not only what they missed by
what
not
we missed,
listening,
too.
but what we missed.
Well, we started out with something from Rock Swings, a album that Paul Anka made in 2005, where he does like a big band version of a bunch of classic rock songs. So we picked up Van Halen's Jump on that one. I thought that sounded pretty good.
We're going to play that one again, baby.
We're going to sample that over the next few weeks. There's about 13 songs on it. There's he does Nirvana, he does Pet Shop Boys, does R.E.M., does Michael Jackson.
You might as well jump, baby.
Here we go. Then we gotten into real stuff, okay? Woman from Tokyo, Deep Purple, Ian Gillan's birthday, the lead singer of Deep Purple, his birthday was this past week. I Can See for Miles, The Who, happy birthday to Keith Moon, who was born on the 23rd of August, but left us back in 1978, in September of 1978.
That was a long time ago.
It sure is. Heavy metal drummer, which maybe was written about him, I don't know. It was, but it's Jeff Tweedy's birthday today. Now, he was born in 1967, so he's quite a bit younger than the two of us. About 10 years younger than you, I guess?
At least.
Okay. The boys are back in town. Thin Lizzy, Phil Lynott. It was his birthday, although he's no longer with us either. He's the bass player in that band.
Do you still have a birthday if you're not here?
I think so. Well, up in heaven you do, right? Or maybe down in hell.
Depends on where you go.
That's right, exactly. We skipped over Slow Turning by John Hyatt. John Hyatt's birthday was this past week, too. We did Out on the Tiles from Led Zeppelin 3. Robert Plant's birthday was this past week. And ended with, I think, a foreboding song here. Accidents will happen. And they certainly did. Elvis Costello.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
What are you going to do? These things happen. We do have a call-in number, although we're going to have a pretty chock-full show today.
Yeah, we got a few correspondents, and we got a big conversation coming up with Rocky Klever.
Rocky Klever. We do have a couple minutes, though, before we get to Rocky. So if you'd like to give us a call, it's 1-855-4-IN-RADIO, and it's right down below us, the number. We also have a little chat box that you can chat with us today. So
we watch it, so if you want to say something, we'll try to fit that in the conversation.
So what are we going to try and get to today?
Well, today's lineup is part 2 of the 2013 Glory Days Football Extravaganza.
I love the football extravaganza.
Yeah, I do too.
And it was so big this year
That we had to fit it into two shows.
Or was it because our show is only an hour now?
Well, it's probably that too, although our show was an hour and a half, I think, last week, or an hour and 22
I think
minutes.
when the show was 2 hours and we had the football extravaganza, it was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, more like 3. So we're going to have correspondent reports from Pete Torgerson to talk about the New England Patriots, and Jerry Swarzman will talk about Chicago and Green Bay. We will have former Jets tight end Rocky Klever. He'll join us to talk about the Jets. I think he was at camp this week, is what you were telling me.
He was at the Jet camp.
He'll talk about the NFL. He's got to leave a little early because he's got his own football draft today.
He's got his own football draft.
And maybe we'll get a chance to talk about the Christmas pickle. We'll have to see how we fit that in the conversation. And time permitting, we'll have a live song from Mr. B.
And what are you going to have today?
We will do the unplugged version of Layla.
Ooh, another
Eric Clapton song. Yeah, I've been in the Eric Clapton songbook for a while. And this will be the last one I'll do for a while.
Not a bad place to be.
There you go.
All right. So...
Buttons. Buttons. I don't know.
All righty. So it was an interesting week. NFL football is gearing up. We had our own little fantasy football draft yesterday, our 33rd year of doing fantasy football.
Yeah.
Which is a long time.
It is. As you pointed out, we've been doing this more than half our lives now.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is pretty cool, I think.
And I think Betsy posted something saying, you know, if you look at it, probably we started doing fantasy football a long time before any of the players that are now on our teams were born. You know?
That is probably true.
Yep.
Well, we always kidded around when we first started, saying that, you know, maybe someday one of our children will be eligible to be drafted, and we were going to put a clause into the bylaws that said you can't draft somebody else's child.
I think the guy that's got the best chance of that happening, although he plays defense, is our friend Edgar Munez.
Edgar Munez. Yes.
Whose son, I think, is going to Duke, I think is what I read a few weeks ago.
Yes.
He's a defensive back, so you can't really draft defensive players, but we'd probably make him a sentimental favorite. I would draft him.
Right.
Edgar's always been a good guy, you know?
All right. Couple of quick notes. The Mets.
Yeah.
You know what? I can't take them anymore. They suck me in, and then they just disappoint me.
Well, I mean, when you consider them playing Detroit, Detroit has, I was watching game yesterday, and as an offensive team, they are ranked first in the American League in all categories. Home runs, runs scored, I guess, runs per game, I think batting average, you know.
And they just can't play behind Matt Harvey. They just can't. They said that
It
they were looking at
reminds me of Tom Seaver, you know. Unless he pitches a shutout, they're not going to win. You know?
They were looking at his the runs that they score, their average runs that they score, and they said when he is physically in the game, it's 1.2 runs.
Really?
When he's physically in the game. And you know,
So he's got to be just about perfect. I mean, yesterday he wasn't close to being perfect. He gave up, I think, a career-high number of hits. He gave up 13 hits yesterday.
I think he's
But
tiring.
he only gave up 2 runs, you know, so they were in that game. And the Mets had certainly some opportunities to score some runs, and they didn't.
Right.
You know?
And they got burned the other night. I think it was Thursday night with that call at first base, or Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
The call at first base was bad, but
Yeah. I want to talk about the Yankees, though, for a minute, too. When we talked last week, they had split with the Red Sox. They had a big game coming up Sunday night.
Right.
The big story about Sunday night was Ryan Dempster hitting A-Rod on his 4th attempt to beat him, you know.
I can't
And it
believe it took that many
really
times.
boggles my mind that the umpire didn't try to take control of that after either the first pitch, which was behind him but at his legs, or the second pitch, which was chin music. You know, I think the umpire blew it. I think Major League Baseball blew it by not suspending him more than 5 games. You know, I think Joe Girardi was totally. Is it Joe Girardi?
Jim Girardi. No, Jim
Joe
Girardi's
Girardi, okay.
our friend. Joe
Girardi,
Girardi.
I think he was perfectly, you know, justified in, you know, throwing a fit there. He got tossed.
He said after the game, he says, you can't just throw at someone because you don't like them or you disagree with the way something's being handled.
Yeah, and he's right.
You
He's
know?
right. And basically, the Yankees had no chance of doing anything after that. Again, I mean, the American League, though, the pitchers don't even bat. That's the guy that should have got thrown at, you know?
Right.
Who are you going to plunk somebody else?
And you know, even David Ortiz
Yeah.
was in a.
Well, he did not approve of Dempster intentionally, and he said he intentionally threw at him.
Oh, of course
But
he
of course,
intentionally threw at him.
Dempster denies that. The Red Sox deny it. What a bunch of BS. But what really happened, at least what looked like happened, is that they woke up the sleeping giant.
Right. Exactly.
You know, the Yankees, they won that
I mean,
game.
other than the last 2 nights.
Then they beat Toronto. They swept them 4
They
games.
swept Toronto. They'd won 10 of their 10 of 12. Mm-hmm. They've won 10 of 12. They've won 5 straight series.
Yep.
And then they go into Tampa.
And they've come up
lose 2
empty.
games.
They lost twice. CC Sabathia still. I mean, he had 1 bad inning, but that's all it takes is 1 bad inning when when you're playing an elite team like the Rays.
By the way, we're going to get Rocky Klever on the phone in a few minutes. But did you see A-Rod's lawyer on the Today show with Matt Lauer?
I did not.
Oh, it was the best thing
Yeah?
ever. You know, his lawyer is this pompous guy
He's really not liked by
spouting
anybody,
all
you
this
know?
stuff. So listen to what he
Typical
says.
lawyer.
He says to Matt Lauer, he says he's constrained from pure honesty because of the confidentiality clause in the baseball's drug program. And so he says, if the vice president of Major League Baseball would be good enough to waive the confidentiality clause, I'd love nothing more than to talk about Alex Rodriguez, testing history, and various things. I would love nothing more. Matt Lauer goes like this. I have a letter that they
From Major
delivered
League
this
Baseball,
morning
yeah.
from the vice president of Major League Baseball that Major League Baseball is willing to waive the confidentiality clause and go public with all of the emails, text messages, and testing results if A-Rod will waive the player's right to confidentiality. The guy had the deer in the headlights look in him. And then he says, well, you know,
Is it a time for a commercial?
if they would have sent it to me last night, I would have looked it over and I would have done it. You know what?
Yeah.
He's bluffing. They called his bluff on national television, and immediately the next day, A-Rod told all his advisors,
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it's a cooling off period.
I
We've got a
don't want
truce
anybody
going
to
on.
talk about anything. He's a phony. They're all phonies. Did you hear Ryan Braun's apology about how, well, I really knew and I was scared and I didn't know what to do? You know what? They all have to go.
I had read something that, because Ryan Braun is friends with Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
And Aaron Rodgers, you know, after a conversation with him, guaranteed, and I think he bet somebody,
He bet
I think a
somebody.
year's salary or
Yes,
something like
a
that,
year's salary.
that Braun was clean, you know. So I wonder how he's paying off that bet, or if he's paying off that bet.
He's not
you know.
paying off that bet.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do? All righty. So, you know, by the way, while we're getting Rocky on the phone, Pete Rose
Yeah.
came out and said about the players that were implicated that they should come clean. He says, we've got to get these people to understand that if you make mistakes, people will forgive you if you come forward. Don't do like I did. Don't do like Ryan Braun did. Don't do like A-Rod did. And he says, and remember on this program I mentioned this, I wish I had come forward a long time ago. Some guys came forward like Jason Giambi and Andy Pettit, and they went on with their lives. They're playing and they're making good money, and there's no shadow upon them now. And he is absolutely right. Nobody's talking about Andy Pettit anymore or any of those guys. He said, I tell them what not to do and look at what happened to me and go from there. I think, and he's saying that he would like to be a guy to talk to these people, to talk to minor league players and young baseball players.
This is Pete Rose.
I think with my experience, it just seems like we all think we can get away with something. I just think if baseball gave me the opportunity, I could help the game and I could help restore some integrity to the game. But that's not going to happen
No.
because,
So we have Rocky on line 4 here.
do we really?
Yes, we do.
All right,
All right.
let's do this. Let's do this also.
Not in that order.
All right.
Uh-oh.
You ready? You know, we're going to give him an official introduction here.
Okay.
Our first guest was inducted into the Alaskan High School Hall of Fame in 2006 as a quarterback from West Anchorage. He played running back in college at the University of Montana, and he was drafted by the Jets in 1982, where he became a tight end. Please welcome the good friends of the show, Rocky Klever.
Rocky.
Are you there?
Hey, Rocky.
Is somebody actually clapping?
That was me
Yes.
clapping. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing okay.
So we heard you were at that Jet camp this week, and you probably had some interesting things to report, is what Disco was telling me. I guess he talked to you yesterday, or if he didn't talk to you, I guess he had an email conversation going on with you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good time. It was good to see Klecko and Buttle and Marty Lyons and those
Oh, the
guys.
whole gang was there, huh?
Yeah, I think there was like 20 of us. It was nice.
Wow, that's pretty good, because we were trying to figure out how you got there.
I drove. I couldn't drive a car.
But we thought that maybe the Jets were, they seem to sometimes be clouded in secrecy, and they don't let people into their camp. But that's pretty good.
Yeah, Idzik kind of sat us all down. We had a little lunch and stuff. It was nice, and he just said he and Rex wanted to be where we, the alumni, are more involved, and it was pretty nice to kind of feel like they kind of wanted us around.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it was good. And I don't know if I told you guys this last time, but Marty Morningweg and I went to college together, so it was good to see him.
Yeah, you did tell us that. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
What does he think of the offense?
Well, of course, he thinks it's promising and he likes it and all that. I mean, those guys are all usually pretty positive about stuff. So,
So did you see the game last night?
I didn't see Sanchez get hurt. I wanted to see Gino play.
Yeah, he didn't look too good, did he?
Nah, not really, but, he's young.
He is. But he's not ready to take the reins, and with Sanchez going down, we don't know how bad that injury is. I think the Jets are not looking so good going into week one.
Yeah, that'll be tough. I saw later online, my daughters and I were having dinner and watching the game, so then I saw later that Sanchez got hurt. I don't know. It looked more like maybe a collarbone than it would be like a labrum thing, but who knows? It'll be tough, that's for sure.
So,
what did you think about the fact that they even put him in last night?
Well, I don't know who he was in there with. I mean, I think preseason, anybody who ever played hates preseason. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Who would be are they going to keep three quarterbacks? I heard now this year they don't have to. I thought they had to keep three quarterbacks.
I don't know that. I don't know that they have to. Is that a rule?
Well, I thought it was a couple years ago.
Well, I thought they were allowed to. I'm sorry. I thought they were allowed to have a third quarterback that they could dress but not play.
Unless somebody got hurt.
Right. He would be like an emergency quarterback, and he could only go in the game as an emergency.
Right, because they tried to get away what the Jets did with me and the Dolphins did with Jim Jensen by having a guy that could take a snap and hand off and play special teams and play other positions.
Right.
So they said the guy has to be a quarterback and, hold the clipboard, and then due to injury, they put an actual quarterback in because they didn't want, the fans to say, oh, God, we got Rocky Klever playing quarterback.
But I think the other part of that rule is that if he does come in, the player that he replaces can't come back in.
Right, something like that. It was pretty convoluted. But now I talked to one of the scouts, and he said they have to keep two for a backup, but there's no rule against that now. So I don't know. Because didn't that kid from Alabama, who's the
McElroy, Greg McElroy,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good.
I liked him.
Said
is he still on the roster?
He is.
Well, he was still eligible to be on the practice squad.
Okay.
But Matt Sims came in last night when Sanchez went down. Actually, I guess the Jets won in overtime on a field goal in overtime. But
wow, they won in overtime? Okay.
Yeah, it
what
went in
was very
overtime,
strange was Rex Ryan was talking about it after the game, and they were obviously asking him about why you would put Sanchez in the fourth. Your $8 million starting quarterback. Why would you even bring him in the fourth quarter?
Why expose him to
and he
to
says
risk of injury?
He says we're trying to win the game.
Yeah, I saw that on the internet. Well,
Yeah,
that's legit. You can't argue with trying to win the game, I guess, right?
But if you're
Well,
trying
in
to win the
preseason,
game,
I think you can. What's at stake? I think the Snoopy Trophy is what they give out for the team that wins out of the Jets and the Giants.
in every other press conference, they all talk about, it's important to win the game, but it's more important to get the reps in, to get them up to full speed and to understand the actual speed of an NFL game. I mean, you obviously know better than us two jockeys here that practice is not the same as a game.
Yes, in the great words of Allen Iverson, yes, practice is not exactly. You know what? It would probably be better if they started calling preseason games like preseason practice scrimmages or something, and then it would be more legit to say, "Oh, we're not going to get this guy in, and we don't care if we win." Or,
Right.
It's just. I'm just saying you can't argue with somebody that says they want to win.
Yeah.
You guys can, but I can't.
But you know what? But the other thing is, if you're going to say you want to win, okay, then why didn't you want to win the first two games? Why wouldn't you keep your starters in for most of the games if you want to win? It's just that he seemed to pull that out for the first time ever in preseason. I've never heard him talk about wanting to win a preseason game.
I don't know. Jesus.
Did you get to talk to him at all, or just like say hi, how are you?
Because I had been there once before. When I was going to coach, Terry Bradway found out and got me to go up there for a day, and it was pretty cool. So he just kind of said, "Hey, how you doing?" I mean, it's not like he came and introduced himself to everybody. So
Well, he seems like a nice enough guy. He seems like a guy I would want to play for.
Yeah. I mean, he seems that way. Yeah. I mean, I think he's a good guy. I think they like him. Marty says he likes him. Marty's a good guy. So it's, the whole thing with coaching and the coaches, the way they kind of the good buddy thing, nobody ever says any bad things about anybody. So.
Yeah. One of the things
he's probably a good guy.
I would love for, and maybe the next time we talk, you could find this question out. I would like to know if Marty knew about Sanchez going in ahead of time, because watching that part of the game last night, Sims was warming up. Marty had the clipboard and he was talking to Sims, and Sanchez was sitting on the bench, and all of a sudden Sanchez had to get up, had to start throwing the ball. He actually got hit in the head with a football because they were trying to get balls to him so he could loosen up. I don't think Marty knew. I don't think Marty knew that Sanchez was going in that game.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, that would be my question to Marty. Did he know? But I know.
I'm going to be honest with you here. If I find that out, I'm not telling you guys.
Come on, man.
Well, you could just tell us, and we'll kind of say a report from the jet camp said.
Yeah, right. A report.
An unnamed source.
Yeah. An unnamed source who went to college with Marty Morty.
And was inducted into the Alaska High School Hall of Fame in 2006.
We'll just call him the Nook of the North.
Hey, I have a question about training camps, since obviously you've been through a bunch of them. That day you were there, Stephen Hill took a big hit from Antonio Cromartie. He knocked him down, and Nick Mangold, the center, kind of got annoyed at Cromartie, because I guess he didn't think that they should hit people that hard during practice. And Cromartie said, "Don't cry, play ball." Hill said he had no issue with it. He says, that's fine, that's what it is. Football. He says, football is starting to become very, not trying to say soft, but you got to get hit. It's a gladiator sport. Did they have special, I mean, I know they don't have special rules about hitting in practice, other than the red jersey quarterbacks. But,
yeah.
When you guys were playing, I mean, are they supposed to hit you as hard as possible, or what's the general rule for training camp?
Well, I mean, they always will define what that particular part of the practice is, whether it's thud, means, they hit you around the shoulder pads. When you go live, you get hit live.
Right.
The guys that, if it's just thud, a guy that'll take a cheap shot at you, yeah, then it could be a fight, But it's not a big deal. It never used to came out in the paper unless a reporter, like Paul Nadal said, oh, a fight broke out after a good hit in 7-on-7. But usually, until 7-on-7 got live, and they'd say, okay, this is live, then you had to kind of, cover your ass and put your head on a swivel and expect to get hit.
Yeah,
So it was always defined. Each thing was defined. We would go, 9-on-7, like that's the run game, and then, they'd say, okay, we're going live goal line. And we knew it was live blocking, and you still wouldn't cut somebody and still wouldn't tackle a quarterback. But live is live, and stud is stud. So I don't know what that drill was.
what do you take from Dustin Keller had a terrible injury on what was considered a low hit. You can't hit high anymore. No more helmet to helmet. Not that helmet to helmet was good at any point, but now they're talking about outlawing low hits like that. I mean, I know you still can't go for players' knees.
Well,
to
there were a
begin
couple
with.
of NFL players that said something to the effect of, I'd rather get hit in the head than get hit in the
Right.
knees, is what they said. And they
Right.
said, well, that's kind of opposite of what the NFL is trying to instill right now.
How did they
I would
train?
rather get hit in the head as well.
How did they train you guys during your
well,
time?
I mean, you wouldn't go after a guy's knees,
Right.
and you wouldn't necessarily intentionally try to knock him out in the head, but I thought I always kind of protected myself with my head because you have a big helmet on it and a face mask, and I think they're just, when you duck your head, you get in trouble. When you keep your face up, you're okay, really, because you have a strong neck, and if you get a hit in the face, it's not like the crown or the top of your head, But I think they're just going to come up with kind of like a strike zone to where you hit from the knees to the numbers, and then that's okay.
But don't they have to, to really put in a rule like that, don't they have to really wait until the players that are, probably playing Pee Wee, get used to that or something?
I guess, but then, the players now duck their heads too much. So
Yeah.
something happened in the last, maybe 10 years where players want to do the knockout shot. They duck their head, they close their eyes,
Right.
and, that's probably why they missed some tackles.
Right.
Like, Lance Mel doesn't have any concussion problems, but his knees and his back are messed up, but he never missed a tackle.
They.
He wrapped up with his face up and hit with his face mask and
Right.
wrapped up.
Brandon Jacobs said, "Get your daughters ready because they'll be playing football soon." He says, "How can we protect ourselves? Our heads are connected to our bodies. You can't drop your shoulder without your head."
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
I don't know Brandon Jacobs, and I hope he doesn't take this as an insult, but his daughter probably could play.
Hey, I know a couple of times we talked in the past about Santonio Holmes. Now, he's been kind of, actually, I guess some people are really accusing him of really dogging it. He doesn't want to play in the preseason and things like that. But I guess the more interesting thing was he was named captain, and Rex Ryan admitted that was a mistake. I think you said you came up to some charity event where basically most of his teammates didn't come up. So what's your read on him? Is he getting back with his team, or do you think he's just going to be a cancer?
Well, yeah, I did the charity event. I just said there wasn't one teammate at the charity event.
Right.
And when we did stuff with Marty or Joe, everybody would show up, probably for free food and free beer, but everybody would still show up. I don't know. I think he's like Derrick Rose from basketball.
Yeah.
I guess he's going to play when he wants to play, but why wouldn't he play?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think.
I actually, I went to look at that injury that he has. It's a Lisfranc foot injury. The problem with that injury is that they insert screws into your foot.
Yeah.
Okay? So he had the screws taken out in February, just this February.
Yeah.
You usually can begin rehab within 8 to 12 weeks after getting the screws removed. But they said that what happens is the screws actually make holes in the bones. So the bones have to kind of fill in. And then the ligaments that the screws went through also have to repair. So that's why it's such a painful injury. But he said I think the day, I don't know if he was at camp the day you were there, but he said one day during the week that he's not even sure when he's going to get back, when he's ready to get back. His foot will tell him, he said. And
Then it said he was going pretty full speed, I think, on Thursday. Or
yeah,
something,
then all of a
you
sudden
know?
they took him off the PUP list.
Yeah, and now he's running around like a maniac.
And so,
Wow.
No,
Well,
I
I guess
don't know.
he's ready.
so tell us a little bit about meeting all the boys again.
What's that now?
Tell about meeting your boys again at the Jet Party.
Your former teammates.
Oh, okay. My boys, yeah. No, it was really nice. And again, it's cool. Marty is getting into the Ring of Honor, so we all were excited about that.
Oh, that's
Marty's
cool.
a good guy, you know.
Are they doing that at a game this year?
What's that?
Are they going to celebrate that at a game this year?
Yes, you know, it's like October, I don't know, 10th or something like that. It'll be another Ring of Honor game, so that'll be cool.
Are you going?
You know, Marty has to kind of give him a list. Hopefully he invites me. You know, I was nice to him, so I don't know.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm going this Thursday as like a little alumni thing against the Eagles.
Oh, Thursday night?
So that'll be interesting who they play with against the Eagles Thursday night, right?
Right, because if whoever's the starting quarterback is not going to play. All right, because according to what Rex Ryan said, Rex said that he doesn't play his starters in the fourth preseason game.
Right.
So
That's what I understand too. Well, I guess if you played Saturday and then it'll just be like McElroy and Sims to see who would be the backups then, right?
Unless, well, I tell you what, if Sanchez is getting an MRI today, hopefully he's not seriously injured. If he's seriously injured, maybe they have to look at another quarterback, bring somebody else in.
I read something that said this is kind of like the Yankees thing with A-Rod, hoping that he'd get hurt. They said maybe Ryan put him in so he would get hurt, so that he wouldn't be the starter. I don't know. That's kind of crazy talk. But
I think Ryan wants him to be a starter because Ryan's in the last year. Well, not in the last year of his contract. He still has a contract next year, but he only has a guarantee for this year because Woody Johnson said whoever the new GM in has to keep Ryan for this year.
Mm-hmm.
This year, believe me, he's going to do everything he can to win, whether it's with Sanchez or McElroy or Johnny Manziel or whatever. He'll do whatever he can do. So
I think he wants to count the preseason games towards his winning percentage, though. Because they're 2-1 now, right?
Well, he can say he beat the Giants. So,
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Jacksonville's not on our schedule this year.
Yeah.
I'd love to play that.
Jacksonville looked okay against the Eagles last night, though.
Yeah, they got their act together.
Yeah, you never know. I don't know. Maybe the Jets, maybe Idzik, and Ryan like each other enough to say, let's rebuild, and I'll give you next year if you promise to rebuild. And we'll get a good draft pick. We'll hopefully pick a good draft pick, and we'll build up for it.
Well, you've now gotten a chance to see the two different Rexes, as we all have. You had the blustery Rex, the bravado Rex, and now you have the I seem to be humbled Rex. The Rex that seems to be afraid to say the wrong thing. He never seemed to be afraid to say the wrong thing before. I like the old Rex. I like the bravado. I like the come and beat us mentality. And since we've had this new Rex, they seem to getting back to the old days of the Jets playing not to lose instead of playing to win. What do you think about that?
I don't know. Does it have something to do with the weight loss at all, or what?
I don't know. How does he look? He looks pretty good, doesn't he?
He does look good. Yeah, maybe he's not such a big man, so I don't know. Who knows? I think, it's always a wake-up call when you do something and things don't turn out like you expect.
Right.
He really expected to win a Super Bowl and kind of be the man, and things didn't turn out that way.
And you know what? But it wasn't like they went 6-10. They were right there. 2 AFC championship games in a row. You know, you guys know what that's like. I mean, you guys were pretty close.
Yeah, he still had that bravado then, right? And
Yep.
then that's why I say Sanchez can win. So I mean, they need to get guys around Sanchez to win.
I mean, look at who he's had to throw to the last 2 years. It's been horrible. I mean, you know,
you
they.
need running backs, and then obviously the offensive line's important. But yeah,
Yeah.
you need to throw the guys and you need running backs.
Yeah, and you know what? They just don't have enough weapons to overcome what would be maybe considered a mediocre quarterback. You know, a
Right,
mediocre
right.
quarterback, a guy who really, I mean, he's not going to heave it 60 yards down the field. I understand that. So that's why I think that this offense is better suited for him.
It is, I think. But mediocre is not bad, really. Mediocre is average, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
you can't have the worst quarterback, but you don't necessarily need the best.
That's
Exactly.
right.
And you know what? In the years that he was making the plays, you just need to make enough plays. You know, when they had a great
And protect
defense.
the ball.
Protect the ball. He had another fumble yesterday.
Yeah, I read that.
What's your
too.
take on that one,
And
by the way? His fumble yesterday.
Did you see it?
Well, I hate all fumbles, so I
Okay.
don't know. I mean, all fumbles usually can be prevented. I don't know, how did he fumble? I just read it on the internet. Was he running with it, or did he?
No. It was a fumble from center.
Yeah, I personally don't understand that, because that's one thing you do every day, and in practice you do it
Right.
50 times, 100 times, don't you?
Yeah. At least you would think so. You know,
Right.
he got sacked on the first play, then he fumbled on the second play. Then he threw I mean, he was what, 5 for 6? He didn't have a bad day just before he got hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, you don't want to blame it on the center if you're the quarterback ever,
Right.
because then your center feels like he's thrown under the bus.
Mhm.
But
Right.
sometimes the center, doesn't get it up there. But you still got to follow him. I mean, because I did, even though I joke about being the crappy third-string quarterback, I did play at one time.
Yes.
So
Played well enough to be elected to the Alaskan Hall of Fame.
exactly.
There you
That's
go.
right about that. Yeah. So when I coach now, I'll make sure I'll take snaps from the center, and sometimes, I mean, they're only like high school kids or college kids, but sometimes that center's not snapping it good enough to get a consistent exchange.
Do you think that's one of the toughest positions in football, center?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I always thought, the guy, not only does he have to snap the ball, but as soon as he snaps it, someone's going to hit him in the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I always marvel at how those guys are able to snap the ball and get right up and block.
Well, usually, too, they have to make calls on the line of scrimmage. They're telling the other guys what to do.
Yeah.
They're making protection calls, or they're making what, the guard and the tackle do on the backside. I mean, they're making calls, and then they got to pay attention to the snap count,
Right.
and they got to snap it, and then Joe Plecko kicks their ass.
Which I always marvel at the center. Hey, did you have you ever? I mean, I'm obviously I'm not the big stat guy here, but did you ever fumble after you caught a pass?
No, I did not.
Really, you had no fumbles in the NFL. That's pretty good.
Well, I fumbled twice in one game in college, and then I never fumbled after that. I was going to go jump off the 4th floor of the dormitory in Montana. That was the highest building in Montana. I thought I would survive.
It was just for show.
Yeah. I stood there and yelled.
I mean,
Well,
it's
for
got to
charity.
be. I know last night, I saw a highlight last night in the Denver game, okay? The Denver, and I can't even think of who Denver was playing. Anyway, Denver's on like the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
Running back comes out, swings to the right. He gets tackled. Hillman, I think it was Hillman. He gets tackled. The ball pops loose. Okay, the defensive back grabs the ball, but he can't pick it up because he's got nothing but daylight. He's going 94 yards for a touchdown. He picks up the ball, and an offensive lineman grabs him by the legs. and he goes, instead of going down with the ball, because there was only 20-something seconds left in the half, instead of that, he flips it to the guy behind him, who, of course, doesn't catch it. It pops up in the air, and one of the receivers on Denver picks it up and runs the 5 yards for a touchdown.
Nice.
That guy, he got back to the bench, and he was so distraught. He was sitting on the bench with his head down. The coach came over to kind of, put his hand on his shoulder, say,
With St. Louis they were playing, by the
Oh,
way.
St. Louis, okay. He's putting his hand on his shoulder saying, don't, I don't know what he was saying. He might have said, you piece of crap. The next time you do that, you're going to get fired, and, your roster spot's not protected. But it's got to be a terrible feeling to fumble the ball like that.
Well, the main reason that he did, well, I mean, that's why he's on defense, because he's not that smart. You're right. He did not think there's 20 seconds left. I've got a turnover. We got the ball. We're going in the halftime with a lead.
No.
He thought, I'm going to make the highlight film. I'm the man.
I'm going 96 yards. That's exactly what he was thinking. Because he was
I'm
looking
going
at
to
the
the
ball the
gym,
whole
and I'm
time,
gonna-
and it wasn't, I know how you guys are taught to just jump on the ball and cover it,
Yeah.
That guy was looking at the ball, and he was timing the bounce in his head. He was hoping it would bounce right up to him, but it didn't. It stayed low. And he tried to get down low and grabbed it, and he grabbed it and dropped it, and at that point, he lost his momentum, and that's when the guy caught him. So,
Well, now, I mean, back in the day, we were always just taught to just fall on it.
Yeah.
Coaches would yell if you tried to pick it up. Then it got to be, if there's a good bounce, go ahead and pick it up. Then it got to be, do anything you can to pick it up, pitch it back.
Keep
and
it
then
live.
do a
Try
dance. Yeah.
and get it in the end zone.
Right. And then lose it and not care.
You know what I think? Where I think that changed? I think ESPN has changed everything.
Yes, it has.
The coverage
Because-
everybody gets, and they all want to be on the highlight reels.
Everybody wants to be on the top 10. I think everybody wants to be on the top 10, and everybody wants to, be the highlight. I mean, why not? Hey, Rocky, I know you got to go. I know you got your fantasy football draft. Is it a draft where you pick everyone from scratch?
I don't know. This is only the second time I've ever done this. The first time was my friend owned a bar, and he said, come down, we're having a draft party. So I went and drank and ate with him. I know it sounds like I drink a lot, but I do. So he had like wings and pizza and beer, and we did a draft party. And I ended up with Phillip Rivers as a quarterback, and I can't stand him, so I never have done it again. So now I get to pick my own quarterback, and I think, I don't know what from scratch means. What does that mean?
No, it means you have nobody on your team. You're starting with a
It's
blank
not a
team.
keeper league. You didn't keep anybody from last
They
year.
have leagues that you keep players from year to year.
No, I see. I don't have players to keep. Yes, it is a scratch, I guess. So I don't know. Who should I try to pick? I think the running backs from the Vikings, right?
Right, that would be the guy to pick.
Adrian Peterson. I think Aaron Rodgers is a good pick there too. You're talking about quarterbacks.
You think
I
like
don't
you?
even know a running back for the Jets. Who's the running back for the Jets?
Bilal Powell and Chris
I-
Ivory, right?
I could tell you that we had we've been doing fantasy football for 33 years, believe it or not. And yesterday's draft was the first draft where nobody picked a player from the Jets until very late in the draft.
Ooh.
And I think only 3 players got drafted
And you
from
know
the Jets
what?
right now.
You could really tell from fantasy football drafts who the good teams are and who the bad teams are, just based on players that get selected.
What? Did anybody pick the Jets defense?
No, we don't have defense.
We don't have a defense in our league.
Oh.
We're just strictly an offensive league, and we only count touchdowns.
You know, Kellen Winslow might catch a bunch of balls this year.
You know, I forgot he was on the Jets. I
Yeah,
tell
we
you,
have a
it's been
few
such
waiver picks, so that's probably a good idea.
You know, it's been such a strange year to watch football and stuff. We've been so, as a Jet fan, you've been so concentrated on the quarterback situation, that you don't really even, you're not really even paying attention to it. And actually, if you had time directly after our show is a brand new fantasy football show that's coming on this on enravio.com. But I don't know if they're going to be able to help you if your draft is at 11 o'clock.
They'll be able to help you out from week to week, though. So make sure you dial in from now on. You know.
Yeah, I'll still try to get a chance to look at it. I don't know who the hell I'm going to pick, you know.
Hey, listen, would you?
I think a lot of it's luck, to tell you the truth, Rocky. I don't think there's much science to this thing.
Well, would you have picked yourself?
Would I have picked myself? No. But I would have picked the next best thing to myself, Mickey Schuler.
There you go.
Because he used to catch touchdowns, and he used to catch a bunch of balls.
Yeah, some leagues actually give points for receptions.
Receptions and yards. I mean, we're just a pure scoring league.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So are you going back to Germany this year?
No, I can't do it. I got too much stuff to do.
All right, so then you'll be around if you want to give us a call and we want to talk about how the season's going.
Yes, I will be around.
All righty, that's very cool. Listen, man, thank you very much for hanging out with us for a little while this morning.
Good luck with your draft today, there, Rocky.
And absolutely, let us know if you're going to be at the Marty Lions thing.
Well, again, let's put a plug out there, you know, for Marty to invite me, and then maybe I will.
You know what? If you give me Marty's number, we'll call him on the air next week, and we'll tell him to call. We'll tell him to invite you to the game.
You should have him on once in a while anyway, shouldn't
Yeah,
you?
that's a good idea.
You call him and tell him what a
We'll
great
tell-
bunch of guys
we'll tell
we
him
are.
We're a friend of yours, is what we'll tell him, you know?
What a great show these guys have. Yeah.
But really, if he would want to come on and talk about it like the week before he's going to be out there, we'll promote it for him, absolutely.
All right, sounds good. I'm sure, you know what? He's a good self-promoter, so he never turns down anything that can get Marty Lyons out there. You know,
All right.
He's like
Well,
Greg Buttle and...
That would be great. If you talk to him and you let him know if it's okay with him, we'll definitely call him. Christine will be happy to call.
All
All
right.
right, sounds good. I think his wife's name is Christine, too, so that's...
There you go. We've got an
There's a
in.
connection already. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Hey, man, thanks a lot. Good luck with your draft.
thanks.
All right, Rocky, thanks
care,
a lot.
Rocky.
That is our good friend Rocky Klever. Do I just click this?
Who we got? Hey, Pete.
Hold on. Are you there? Hello? Oh, wait a minute. Let's try again.
Pete,
Hold on.
you there?
Pete, you there?
Looks like we lost Pete.
No, hold on. Let me see if we do it. No, wait. It's gone. Right. Oh, good. That means I can get his music ready. Oh, I don't have control of the thingy.
We are
All
not
right.
gonna. We're not
Boy.
gonna get time to hit Jerry and him.
Well, if we give them just a couple of minutes apiece, we might
No
be
live
able
song from Mr. B today.
Yeah, we may have to. Try. We're gonna try. Get Pete Torgerson on the phone. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was
He's
great.
fun, Rocky. All right, we're gonna try again. All right, click first and then take it off. Click first, then take the handle off. Hello.
What's happening?
Hey,
Are you
Pete,
there?
how are you,
Okay.
man?
Wait a minute. I have an introduction.
Go ahead.
Our
Read it
next
quick.
guest. Oh yeah, we have to be quick. We're running out of time. Our next guest hails from Walpole, Massachusetts, and was a star hockey player
At
for
Quinnipiac.
the Quinnipiac College in the '80s. Was it the '80s or the '90s? You're a young guy, Pete. When did you play for them?
I graduated in 81.
81. Okay, so late,
late
70s,
70s,
early
early
80s. And really, we should have a write-in. We should start write-in ballots to get him into the Quinnipiac Hall of Fame.
He's up there. I mean, he was one of the top goal scorers when my daughter was going there. We were sitting in the gymnasium, and you were 100. I don't know if it was 100 goals or 100 point person, Pete. What was it?
Points.
Points. Okay,
yeah.
about 102, 103 or something
And he
like
also
that, right?
made a career as a college hockey referee.
There you go.
In and around the Boston area. And he is a beloved figure on this here program.
He is.
Please
I've
welcome
never
our
been to
hockey
Alaska.
maven, Pete Torgerson. Petey, how are you?
Fantastic, guys. What's happening?
Not much. Did you get to hear some of the Rocky Klever interview?
I heard the whole thing.
We love Rocky on this show.
I think you guys got a bit of a man crush, but that's okay.
Well, listen, we have
It's
just
a
as much of
bromance,
a
yeah.
bromance with you as we have with Rocky Klever.
All right, it's all good then.
So let's talk about really quick because we have to be out of here by 11 o'clock.
Okay.
So you You have
Let's
6
start at the
minutes
first.
and 12 seconds.
All right.
Let's talk about the New England Patriots. Are they going to cut Tebow?
Yes.
You think so, huh?
Yeah, he's useless. We're wasting our breath talking about him. I could throw a pass better than him. Have you seen any of these?
Oh, it was horrible. They're losing 40-3 or something, whatever they were losing, and he didn't even get in the game.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, so
He's an embarrassment.
so Tebow is
nice
done.
guy and everything, but geez, not on my team.
So let's talk about this completely revamped offense here.
Patriots are a mess.
Yeah.
The only good news is they play in the AFC East because after watching the Jets last night, holy smokes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Jets are in trouble. I think the team to watch is Miami.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. The Patriots just don't have it. Now, you're looking at, just out of the gate, they lost 338 receptions between Welker, Brandon Lloyd, Gronkowski, Hernandez, and Woodhead.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 29 touchdowns. So where do you go from there?
Wow.
Now, Danny Amendola is already hurt.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a long season.
Yeah, but they're a lot like, I think the Patriots are a lot like the Yankees in baseball. You can never count those guys out. I think Bill Belichick will figure out a way to get some guy to step up, and Brady's still a great quarterback. And it'll come down to defense too. How's their defense looking this year, Pete?
Terrible.
Terrible. Well, maybe not so good. I don't know.
Well, I think the whole key to the AFC East this year is going to be the only team coming out of the AFC for the playoffs is going to be the team that wins the division.
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
And
it's not going to
like
be. I don't think
Right.
it's going to be as bad as those years out of the NFC West where that year Seattle was actually under 500.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. But
That was Phoenix, I thought.
I don't see them. I don't see them being a powerhouse. I don't see a powerhouse coming out of the East.
Yeah, between Buffalo, the Jets, I think I could almost lump the Patriots in there with them. They just don't have it. So
Something's
I
missing.
think,
It's not. It's just not clicking on all cylinders. And you know what? Brady is what, 38 now?
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I don't know how much longer he's got left.
Then he's getting his chops broken at home because he doesn't make enough money. His wife out earns him.
Well, when you got a wife who is at least as good looking as you.
Yeah. And what she made, $38 million last year?
She
Oh,
made
my
38 million. Yeah, that's and she's not getting hit every day in practice.
Right. She's getting hit on, but not hit. So we're looking at the schedule. The Patriots got the Falcons, Saints, Texans, Broncos, Browns, Ravens. They don't have an easy schedule.
No, it's going to be tough.
If you do the Mad Dog Russo, win, loss. I don't know. 500, I think, would be a stretch this year.
Gee.
Everybody has. They automatically there's 4 wins in Bills and Jets. Okay, then where do you go? You split with the Dolphins. Oh, they also have the Steelers in here.
Yeah, the Steelers too.
They're out of conference games. Are Buccaneers, Falcons, Bengals, Saints, Steelers, Panthers, Broncos, Texans,
Oof.
Browns, and the Ravens.
There's not a lot of soft games on that schedule at all. Maybe Cleveland.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there. Yeah, So.
Well, Pete, I'd like to feel bad for you, but I really can't being a Jet fan,
Yeah, you had a good run. It's about time. But you know what? I still think that unless Miami puts it together, they're probably still going to win the East. And then again, who knows?
Right.
The Jets are going to need another quarterback because I really believe Sanchez is going to be injured. We're waiting for the results. At some point today, they said they're going to have to pick somebody up because Geno Smith obviously isn't ready. Maybe they pick somebody
You don't
up
think
or
it's
they
Matt
make
Sims?
a trade.
You don't think it's Matt Sims or Greg McElroy?
I don't know.
They can get Tebow back.
Tebow, yeah, that's not a good idea.
How about Geno Smith yesterday pounding his chest? He makes one reception, completes one pass. He's pounding his chest. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that touchdown drive, the Giants had 4 penalties in a row, man, that kept that drive alive.
Yeah.
It was not
So
good.
they gave it to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting season, which is good. But I don't know. I'm not optimistic about the Patriots.
Well, Pete, all I can say is hockey season starts pretty soon, so maybe that's what's going to take us through the winter,
I know.
It's not going to be the football.
How about no Tyler Sagan? I thought I wasn't. I don't know. Jury's still out on that trade. I wouldn't have given up on him that quick.
And let's see, do you think that Tim Thomas will come and play for the Islanders?
No.
You think he's just done? He's just not going to
He's
come
done.
back?
Yeah. He's up in the woods. How about Aaron Hernandez? What do you think of him? Mass murderer.
Oof. You know, we talked about that when it first came out, and now that he's been indicted, I mean, I just can't believe that he's a mass murderer. That he's like Dexter.
Yeah, he killed the 2 kids the year before, and that's why he killed this most recent kid, because he was
Right.
talking with the other guys. And now that there's all that talk about the murders in Gainesville while he was down there.
I mean, I can't. It's hard to fathom that a guy that was this famous.
Yeah.
You know, that became an icon and a thing that he could actually have been that bad and nobody knew.
Yeah.
It surprised me because you figure the NFL teams, they do a pretty good job of screening, making sure the guy is mentally stable and is an upstanding citizen and things like that. So, I mean, we really got it wrong with this guy for sure. You know?
Oh man, we missed the boat completely.
Yep.
The Globe had a big article today on some private detective saying, when Kraft said, I was duped and all this, and they said, we can follow these guys. We can let you know what they're really about. Especially he had that flop house over there where they were all hanging out.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? You're going to have a private investigator watch every one of your guys?
Well, you know who the bad eggs are. You know what guys are going home. You know what guys are out.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Getting in trouble. So.
Hey, we're gonna skip. We're gonna have to skip Jerry this week because we ran over a little late with
Rocky.
So we got just a couple minutes here, and then we have a
I don't
brand
even think
new
we got a
show
couple of minutes. I
debuting.
think we got to say goodnight.
Well, we have 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Pete, who's your what's the name of your fantasy football team?
Team Torg.
Team Torg. Okay. Did you have your draft yet?
No.
When's your draft?
This week.
All right. So then
Thursday night.
you're gonna stay tuned to inradio.com right after us, and you can
Absolutely,
watch the
because
brand new show.
I'm always a Patriot-heavy team, but
And you know
I don't
what?
see
Up
it.
to this point, it's been working out for you.
That's usually a good move. I'm not sure this year it is.
yeah.
All righty,
I'm
Pete.
good.
Thanks.
All right,
We
guys.
gotta go. We got a minute and a half.
All right.
Talk to you later, man.
Have fun. Great job.
All right,
Thanks, Pete.
That is
Take care.
Pete Torgerson. That's our good buddy, Pete Torgerson. So we're gonna have to skip Jerry. Jerry, I'm so sorry we ran out of time today for you. But we'll bring you on the next week. It doesn't matter if you're before the season or after the season. It's
That's
still a season preview. So we are going to have to get out of here. How terrible is that?
It's the way it goes sometimes. It's keeping us to the hour, though. That's the good thing.
All right. So we want to thank our producer, Christine Palmer from Backwater. We have a minute. What is going on? What did we miss last night?
We wrapped up all Rock August, and
It's not coming out. Oh, wait a minute. Go ahead. Now,
can you hear me?
now I can hear you.
We wrapped up Alt Rock August with
And?
Karen and Siska, our repeat guest defenders in studio.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
And what's going to happen next week?
Next week we're off.
You're off next
We're
week.
off.
What?
That's
What are
that's
we
why I
gonna
said we
do?
wrapped up Alt Rock August. There was one more
Okay.
Saturday.
What are we going to do on a Saturday night if there's no Backwater?
I have no idea. You're gonna have to watch the archives to get your fix.
All right. Well, you know what? I would like to go back and watch your green screen show. Real quick, have you seen the new Whose Line Is It Anyway?
No, I haven't had a chance, but I've heard some amazing things.
I've been watching it. It's really funny. They have a really cool thing where they shoot them from overhead and they're laying down on the ground and they look like they're... I can't even explain it. The
Very
only thing I
cool.
don't like about it is it seems to be a promotion every week for the CW, and they have a guest every week. Instead of pulling people out of the audience, they have a guest, and it's always someone from one of the CW shows. All righty. Thanks to our special guest. And if you want to watch Backwater, it is from 7 to 9 p.m. every Saturday, except this Saturday.
You're not broadcasting either.
That's true.
Oh, wait a minute. Your microphone's off. Thanks to our very special guest, a good friend of the show, Rocky Klever, and Pete Torgerson, who helped us out this week. Rocky was very good. You'll enjoy Rocky on the archives. So thanks again, Chuck and Bonnie, for putting up with this nonsense week after week. And there will be no show next week.
So we'll be back
It is
the
Labor
week
Day
after.
weekend. Right, we'll be back on September 8th, and we'll bring
Which
you up to
is-
date, which is just the beginning of the football
NFL
season.
season. That's right.
September 8th, right? Isn't that the date?
Yes.
We're back September 8th. Okay, it will be the first actual Sunday of the football season. All righty, stay tuned right here on radio.com for Code Red Fantasy Football with Mike, Darren, and Kevin. Those are the names they gave me.
And we're going to stick around because we need
We're gonna
some.
stick around.
I need some help myself with my fantasy team.
All right, everybody, enjoy your weekend.
All right.
Keep on going.